Welcome back to Morning Cafe. You're watching, of course, the show. This being a Thursday, we're talking Matters Health, and we're bringing you with us to the clinic. We are at Tia Clinics this morning. How interesting. And we want to talk about weight loss. So this morning, we are focusing on medical solutions for weight loss. A lot of people, are opting for medical in these solutions. And this morning, we're focusing on peptides specifically. So we want to understand what really is it and how best to do that, other than to be here at the hospital. We have Dr. Ashni Maldi. She is an aesthetic doctor right here at Tia Clinics. She'll be taking us through everything that we need to know with regard to, of course, peptides, how they affect our bodies, what we should do, how treatment is done, how if you qualify or not. And of course, later on the show, we'll also be having a case study, and she'll be walking us through the steps that she took, her side effects, if any, and if you need to fear or not. So that's what we're talking about this morning. Thank you so much for hosting us, Dr. How are you?
Thank you, and thank you for coming by. Such a pleasure to have you here.
All right.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Now we're here to learn. And the first question that I wanted to ask, I started by saying weight loss. Peptides for weight loss. Does it work for people who want it for weight gain? Let me use myself as a case study, first of all.
Absolutely. Actually, peptides are so vast. Yeah. They're not just specifically for weight loss. Peptides is the future. And peptides in general are just building blocks for amino acids, which are building blocks for muscle. It's as simple as that. So we have different peptides for weight loss, we have different peptides for weight gain, we have different peptides for hair, skin, pain management, improving gut health. It's literally everything. Any solution that you want from a peptide, you can get it.
So people who want weight gain, people who want to lose weight, everything is right here for you. But today we're focusing on the people who want to lose weight. I want us to quite understand why you think people opt for, peptides as a solution, as opposed to, we used to hear about gyms, work on your diet and all that. Then why do you think a lot of people are opting for peptides now?
I'll shoot that question back to you. How much of gym is sustainable? How much of dieting is sustainable? I think that's where we all fail. In this day and age, with such a social life, and most of us having sedentary jobs, myself included, I'm on this desk sometimes 8 to 8. I don't have time for gym. Yes, it's an excuse, but I don't. We're so social, we don't have time to diet. Are you going to carry your weighing scale to work and count your calories? It's impossible. And so we're really trying to make you be in a calorie deficit through the peptides. So a lot of people consider it a shortcut, but it's not. It's reality of life, busy life schedules, sitting down most of the time, when it's not like back in the day where we had activity. And so all we're doing is car to office, to back to car, to home, to bed, and that's literally our lives these days. And so weight gain has become such a chronic issue. It's actually now considered a disease, I would say so. And it's even more mental than physical, because it's really affecting self-esteem. It's affecting how people look, they don't want to go out, a lot of things that contribute to it. And so why peptides? It's sustainable. That's the one short thing about peptides. It's minimally invasive and it's very sustainable. All we're doing is building you discipline. And when we're building you discipline, that's what's going to keep your weight off for you. So back to the diet and the gym. Yeah. If you diet, it's not sustainable. If you diet, you're not going to be able to keep off the weight for a very long time, because, hey, we all love our carbs, right? And same with gym. Yeah. Yes, it's so necessary to be fit, it's so necessary to be healthy, but not everyone has the time to hit the gym. Not everyone can do gym diligently. Some of us may have never hit the gym for the past 2 years. A lot of us are traumatized from going to the gym, working out, dieting, doing everything possible on the table, but still not losing weight. And so we're just a vessel to get you where you need to be. And then it's really on you on how fit you want to be and how healthy you want to be.
So you can get somebody from, a level of, let's use obese, for lack of a better word. You can get them from that to a point where they want to be, for example, if they want to go as low as, say, 46 kgs. Is that something that you can do, being that we know 46 kgs is considered underweight?
It depends on height. Maybe 46 is not underweight. That's kind of my goal weight, I would say. I'm a testimony myself. I did the peptides. I lost 25 kilos, down from 75 now to 50. So my ideal goal weight is 48. I'm struggling to lose the last 2. But yeah, if someone my height wants to get to 46 or 48, I think that would still be an ideal BMI. But because I'm short, of course. But if someone's taller, then yes, maybe 46 is underweight. So the whole point is getting to the right BMI. And when you're at the right BMI, then there's nothing like being underweight or, you know, it really depends on the height.
First of all, you look lovely, and I would love to know why 48? Why you're aiming for 48?
It's just something stuck in my head. And let's say there's a different story under the clothes. So I want to get to that ideal figure that I want to be at. And so that's why I just push myself. I am at the right BMI right now, but maybe just push myself a little bit more just to get to where I need to be.
Right. So those of us who are under 50 kgs, at least now we get some hope this morning. But of course, I get the point where you say if you can pay for convenience, as they say, then of course peptides is the way to go. But now looking at it, which gender mostly come to the clinics for this particular solution? Are they the males or the females?
You won't believe it's 50%. So it's 50% males and 50% females. We all have a standard sedentary lifestyle these days. We all have a very social life. And so we're all affected, be it men or women.
Talk to us about what happens now to the body once peptides are administered, just step by step, how the changes occur from the very first point. Now a patient comes to the clinic and of course you get to administer a peptide.
Okay, so there's a lot that happens before we do administer the peptide. We do consultation. A consultation is mandatory. Because this is something that needs to be done under medical supervision. Unfortunately, there's a lot that's being done over the counter, people just self-medicating, self-administering, and then this misinformation about how the GLPs or the peptides are bad, which is not true. And so when you come in, we demystify a lot for you. We try and explain to you that how healthy it is to actually take peptides. I mean, we've declared that you can do peptides lifelong, be it weight loss, be it whatever, for whatever reason. And so back to my first statement, peptides are building blocks for amino acids, which are building blocks for muscle. And so you can only imagine that it's regenerating literally everything in your body. When you come in, we do a consultation. My consultation takes about 45 minutes. It's also mandatory to do blood tests. Because blood tests are a baseline just for us to understand where you stand. Do you have high cortisol? Do you have high fasting insulin or insulin resistance? Are your hormones imbalanced? Do you have thyroid issues? Because a lot of these things will depict on how fast or slow your weight loss journey can be. But so to say as well, it does rectify a lot of things in the blood. So when we have baseline blood tests, I also have something to prove to you that, hey, look, this is what you came at, and now 3 months down the line or 6 months down the line, if we were to repeat the blood tests, then you're way better than what you started at if you did have any problems. So going back down to cortisol, just an example, it's a stress hormone. And so when most of us are stressed, of course, because of our lifestyles, most of us have high cortisol levels. which induces inflammation, which is what adds weight. So we're just checking everything in your blood just to also kind of monitor where you are at and what you're going to get to. Yeah.
You mentioned something about self-medication, which of course it's becoming an issue. Health-seeking behavior is quite bad. They call it black market, right? But what are the risks now of self-medication? If we're looking at it now that everything is just at our disposal, what are the risks of that?
The biggest problem is all the misinformation. There's so much misinformation out there on how these peptides cause muscle loss, liver failure, kidney failure, osteoporosis, pancreatitis, blindness, and God knows what, death and things like that. And it's not true. And I'm here just to be, steady, cast in stone.
Yeah.
That peptides are the best thing you can do. So when you're doing it over the counter and, as you said, black market, you're self-medicating or you're doing it without knowledge, you're abusing the drug. Anything that's done too much is anyway not good. And then you're not being guided on how to do it the right way. Again, self-testimony. Am I sagging? Do I have muscle loss? Do I have bad skin? Do I have bad hair? No, I'm not suffering at all. So when done the right way, it's actually the best thing you can do. So this is why we advocate for not self-administering. Yes, you have Dr. Google, you can figure out everything, and that's what I suffer with my patients as well. They come in to tell me exactly what they want and how they want it, as opposed to my opinion. That's some of my patients, of course, not everyone. But it's not right, this is why we're here, and we're here to give you the right medical advice.
So when patients come, of course, to the clinic, do you give them options, and what options do you give them?
There's no option on a consultation. There's no option on the blood test reports. But yes, we do have options of different peptides or different GLPs. Because GLP is a common word. I think a lot of audience will understand what GLP is.
But for those who don't?
For those who don't need to lose weight, don't understand it.
Okay.
No, but I just generally, the education is quite high in terms of what a GLP is. It's basically the weight loss peptide, because we don't talk about specific brands. And so a GLP, there are different types. And so we explain to you why the different types, how it works, and then we leave the choice up to the patient. Also keeping in mind economical factor, because they should be able to afford it. So yeah, we do have different options.
Talking about affordability, how affordable is peptides? Let's look at it from the perspective, a broader perspective, the country in general, and then now we can narrow down to how maybe you as Tia Clinic now charge your patients.
So in general, medicines are expensive, but let's say we've really tried to pull down the prices. For us at TIA, we're the most affordable in the country. And that was my goal from the very beginning, because I suffered myself and I knew there was no way for me to lose weight. So I really wanted to make it very affordable for a larger amount of people, because somebody who's earning a small amount of salary is still suffering from weight gain, is still suffering from suffering from, let's say, being hard to lose weight. So we're really affordable. I can say we're the most affordable in the country. In general, peptides may not be that affordable. They've just come into the market. A lot of peptides have just been regulated by the FDA in the world. And so there are some peptides, when we're talking about the regenerative ones, that may be a little bit on the expensive side, which may not be affordable to everyone. But in the long run, if you're going to suffer from chronic pain, you're going to suffer from chronic gut health issues, you're still going to end up spending millions in hospitals. You might as well do the peptide and maybe spend lesser than what you've spent in hospitals. But yes, this is just an option. But yeah, boiling back down to weight loss, we're very affordable.
And that brings me to the question now, when do you get to suspend treatment for somebody who is under peptides?
Okay, when we talk specifically about weight loss,
Yeah.
it's until you get to your body goal weight.
No illnesses can deter that. Say, for example, somebody develops a certain illness along the way, something like, I don't know if diabetes can qualify for that, maybe cancer, God forbid. But if illnesses occur,
Actually, if you think about it, diabetes is associated with weight gain,
Yeah.
or vice versa. If someone has cancer, the first thing they're told is to lose weight. So it's going to benefit everyone in picture.
Yeah.
The GLPs were anyway made to reduce insulin levels, and so it was anyway made for diabetics. It's only in 2015 is when they FDA approved if it is an anti-obesity drug. So it's used off-label as an anti-obesity drug. So there's no contraindication, so to say, apart from, of course, pregnant women or lactating women, because it's going to pass on to the baby. But otherwise, there's no reason for someone not to do the weight loss peptide. When we talk about other peptides, then yes, maybe we can say there are contraindications, as you mentioned, cancer patients, or it will depending on the treatment, depending on the peptide, and depending on the diagnosis.
All right, Dr. I think at this point now that we've talked about the basics and everything is out of the way, I'm ready to meet your patient to see, how she's looking, and of course to understand her journey and side effects, if any. I'm so big on side effects because I think our viewers might also want to see and learn, if at all there were any. So, tuko tayari sisi.
Okay. Let me introduce to you my patient, Mary.
Hi.
Hi, Mary.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Come, have a seat.
Thank you.
So, this is Mary.
Yeah.
We're still on the journey, or in the journey.
Yeah.
I think she's lost quite a bit as we speak now, but she'll tell you more.
Absolutely.
Of course, she'll tell you about her experience.
Yeah.
But we still have a long way to go.
All right, let's just start from that particular point.
Yeah.
Your journey and your experience. Just walk us, through that and why you opted for peptides as opposed to, we started by saying gym, dieting, but Dr. said, if you can go for the cheaper option,
Yes.
go for the cheaper option, your convenience.
I
So
know.
walk us through your journey.
I always paid for gyms. I could go months, 3 months paying for gyms, and then I do 2 weeks, I give up. I feel pain, I give up. Consistency was not there. So I was almost giving up. And by the time I was giving up, I was really struggling with my hormones because I used to miss my periods. I'm not ovulating one. So I've panicked. I'm on panic mode. So I don't know what to do. So I met Daktari and we talked, and I told her my challenges. I'm not ovulating, I'm not okay. And every time I get my menses, I go to 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It was just terrible. So she advised me I go the peptides way. And I was a little bit sikuwa nataka. So nikasema, let me just research and see, okay, what is here. So I researched and I saw, it's just an injection, no problem. And I went for it. And I can tell you the first month, I always ran to her and I'm like, hey, Daktari, will you lose weight? Because I thought maybe by the time I get my first injection, I'll be at 64 because my target has always been 64 because of my BMI. So she tells me, Mary, cool down.
Baby steps.
Tulia. And that's how I met myself in the Patia clinics.
All right, so for you, the challenge was about your menses and not necessarily weight loss.
Mine was about the menses because, this is what my gyna used to tell me. I am not ovulating. So that means weight is coming. There are many challenges that comes along when you don't ovulate. Mpaka hair growing, mara sijui nini. So imagine ukiambiwa utamea ndevu as a woman, unamea ndevu because you're not ovulating. That's so scary. And you want a baby also. The clock is ticking, your mom is telling you, hey, you need to give me a grandson, a granddaughter. So those are some of the challenges I was, So nikasema, if weight is the problem, then let me fix it.
All right. And now I think at this point people might be wondering, is now the solution to PCOS also peptides? Is that what we were talking about, hormonal imbalance? How now it just, peptide now balances everything in?
I won't say it's the solution or the treatment, but as Mary standardly said, even when you go to the gynae, the first thing they'll tell you is lose weight, because PCOS is associated with weight gain.
Okay.
Hormonal imbalances are associated with weight gain, most case scenario. And so most doctors you'll go to when you have problems, and that's what we spoke about, that even when you're diabetic, it's associated with weight gain. Even, you know, when high cortisol levels, high insulin levels, everything kind of boils down to weight gain, and then losing weight is much harder. And so most doctors will say lose weight first, just to get fit. And so, yes, we've seen many cases where patients do suffer from PCOS, hormonal imbalances. Once they've done the treatment, or at least even while on the treatment, 3 months, 6 months down the line, when we repeat the blood tests, we see that their hormones are so much more balanced. So I won't call it a treatment, but yes, it definitely helps.
All right, it can be a solution for that. And now to the elephant of the room, Mary, the side effects. Talk to us about that. What did you experience at the onset of this?
Of course, my Dr. Ashley had already alerted me that maybe I might diarrhea, I might constipate, I might vomit. But interestingly, I never had such side effects. And so each time I used to call her, hey, Daktari, I'm not seeing the side effects you were telling me about. And she's like, hey, cool down, you okay? It reacts differently, it depends. Yeah.
So Doctor, just walk us through that. Some of these, you know, common side effects that are associated with peptides that people should also be on the lookout for once they start this journey.
Very temporary side effects. These side effects are only while you're on the drug, which is anyway normal, which has been there standardly for the GLPs anyway. But things like nausea, constipation, you know, feeling bloated, headaches, but they're so mild. All side effects are very mellow. It doesn't stop one from, you know, living their normal lifestyle. So you're not bedridden, so to say. And everybody can go on with their routine lifestyle because it doesn't stop you from doing what you need to do on a daily basis. And like she said, I have so many patients who have literally zero side effects. So everyone is different. But that's why the consultation, because we counsel you, we explain to you what the side effects are. So we've given you a heads up on what to expect, just so that it's not out of the norm. But the severe side effects that people talk about, that's not true. That's when the drug is being abused.
Mary, you said you are working towards around 62, 64.
64,
But I'm interested to know how long are you going for? How more do you have to go? And where did you start?
I started at 95.9 kgs. And now I'm at 78.7. That is 6 months down the line. And Dr.
That's how many kgs?
Those
because
are
my calculator is off.
That's
14
yeah,
something kgs. Yes.
Okay.
I'd say 15.
Yeah, 15 kgs.
We round it off.
Yeah. And my target is 62 to 64 kgs. Yeah, so Dr. those are around 2 months now, 3 months. To my target.
Assuming that we're going to lose what you're losing now. We had that phase where she wasn't losing a lot. But it's standard. We want the gradual weight loss. There's nothing like drastic weight loss. The weight took years to come. It's going to take years to go, so to say. So a lot of patients come in expecting miracles. They want to lose 10, 15 kilos in a month. But that's not possible. It's also not safe, because that's when you're going to start sagging. That's when you're going to have the adverse side effects. So when you lose gradually, it's more sustainable, you're more disciplined, you'll keep off the weight longer. So initially we had a challenge with Mary as well. You know, she was only losing about 3 kilos a month, which was the same for me as well. It took me a whole year to lose the 25 that I'm talking about. But I think the past 2 months we've accelerated a bit. So she's losing around 5 kilos a month. So assuming that she's going to continue losing 5, then we have maybe 2 or 3 months to go. And then a wean off phase, because it's very necessary to wean off. You don't just stop abruptly. That's also where people go wrong when they're self-medicating. So gradually, and then she'll have built the discipline by then, and she'll be able to keep off the weight, even though, you know, she's going to eat whatever she feels like, exercise once in a while, of course try and be more fit, because it'll give her more confidence to hit the gym more. But all in all said and done, you know, at least, I mean, I eat my pizzas 3 times a week.
Yeah. So it's weight regain more common after discontinuation. Now, say if she gets to her goal around 62, 64 thereabouts, and then now she's weaned off, and now she wants to just get back to her normal life. Is it something that she can be afraid of? Regaining?
Yes, but that's not just for peptides. Discipline is key. We don't have the discipline, is why we're big. And that's for any weight loss treatment. If you don't have discipline at the gym, you're going to gain back. If you don't have discipline dieting, you're going to gain back. If you do a balloon and you don't have discipline after, we've seen so many cases of rebound. Bariatric, tummy tuck, lipo, whatever you do, if you don't have the discipline, then, or the control of your portions and the control of what you eat, then you're going to gain back. But at least this is the best way to lose the weight, doing the peptides, because it's really building you the discipline of how much to eat. It's really helping you control your portions and keep off even after, because in as much as the hunger will come back, they'll be able to control the portions because it's a habit they've built now. As opposed to when you do other procedures, there's no, okay, so the peptide is making you feel full. So there's appetite suppression. But with other weight loss methods, there's no appetite suppression. So when you don't have the control of eating or not eating, then you're going to have the rebound weight. So discipline is key.
Absolutely. Now, Mary, for example, she loses 5 kgs every month, and I'd love to get to know this from the point of view other, you know, clients, the male clients. Who gets it easy in terms of how the weight reduces? Is it the females or the males?
So fortunately, the males lose faster. Doesn't mean they lose more, but it's easier for them to lose the weight, as opposed to you'll see a bigger part of ratio of women may lose only 3 kilos or 4 kilos in a month, whereas men you'll see losing 5. But also men don't suffer from the side effects a lot. It's just because of their gait and build. So they have a more seamless experience as compared to women, which is just a standard experience. But yes, unfortunately for men, we have to go on the higher doses faster because they stall faster. So you do move up the dose when you plateau. So women will take longer to plateau, but men will take a shorter time to plateau. So we'll have to scale up the dose a bit faster.
All right, now Mary, you can walk us through some of these, you know, myths and misconceptions that you came across while you were doing your research, of course, before you came to Tia Clinics.
Yes.
Ulipata nini mtandaoni?
Waliniambia nywele itaisha. Wakaniambia I'll have saggy skin. I'll have a saggy tummy. They said so many things. Yes.
And Dr. just from that particular point now, this myths that you love to demystify, because when she talks about sagginess, we hear that a lot, or pesticide face. I've seen something like that, how maybe your head now becomes bigger than the body. That is a myth that I've had, you know, and the neck and all that. So what are these myths that maybe your patients come to you with that, of course, you'll demystify for us?
Of course, like I said, it's not true. It's only when people are abusing the drug. It's when they're doing their own things, they're doing funny things, they're crash dieting. We don't allow dieting at all because from the word go, I said that's not sustainable. So when done the right way, you don't suffer from any of the adverse effects. And these adverse effects only come from when people are not doing it the right way. But I think we're living testimonies. We have good skin, we have good hair. So when you gradually lose the weight, then everything just fits into the picture. But when you do it the wrong way, then that's when the problems come. But peptides are the best thing that anyone can do. And I live by it.
All right, so we talked about this being, you know, discipline is needed. And of course, that is after weaning has been done and somebody's off treatment. But I'd love to know what you did differently at Tia Clinics, even as we talk about the issue of it being temporary aid or it being a long-term solution to weight loss.
So we're different because we don't overdose, we don't promise you the drastic weight loss, we make you do it gradually, we guide you on how to do it in terms of what to eat, what not to eat, and all of that. But we're not different in terms of how to keep the discipline. The discipline is really mental.
Yeah.
But at least we're walking the journey with you as opposed to just pumping you with extra medicine and asking you to crash diet and then you drastically losing weight, then rebound is going to be double. So that's how we're different, because we're giving you a real picture. It may be slow, but it's steady. And I think that's why it's easier to be disciplined and keep off the weight after.
Mary, it looks like you have a lot of goodies to say about peptides. But
Yes.
why would you recommend it to someone? I wanted to ask, would you recommend it? But clearly you told us only the good things.
Yeah.
But why would you recommend peptide to somebody who's watching and is thinking about it?
Allow me to speak to a woman who is struggling with getting a baby, struggling with her hormones, her weight. Sometimes we look at women, we judge them because of their weight, and women, we go through a lot. So if you're out there and you're struggling with your hormones, please come to Tia Clinics. Number 2, and this is the first time I'm telling Dr. about this. I used to struggle with alcohol. And the minute you have nothing, because I'm telling you, it suppresses your appetite. So the minute you haven't eaten well, you will avoid mzinga. And I always knew, mzinga sitaweza kukunywa kama sijakula vizuri. So that has really helped me in terms of discipline. In a day, I used to take 8 beers a day.
Maybe you're scaring my
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Right now, I just take tea, water, coffee, nothing else. No alcohol.
Why you should opt for peptides? if I were to go that route, I think I'd be convinced at this point. But also, Dr. For you, maybe before, of course, I engaged Dr. PCOS was the problem at this point.
PCOS was my problem.
But did now your period get back?
They're back.
In order?
They're back. I'm mensing. And sometimes as women tunasemanga, I'm not getting my menses, niko sawa. But wait until ukose your menses, what is happening? Am I pregnant? What is wrong? Am I normal? All those things, you panic. But right now I'm okay.
You're good.
And thanks to Tia Clinics.
At that point, Victoria, I would love to get your parting shot. Now that with everything we've talked about, clearly, I wonder if there's cons to this, because we've only been focusing on the pros. For somebody who's wondering, of course, for something that has an advantage also has a disadvantage. But also you can tell us about that as you give us your parting shot as to why peptides is the way to go.
Of course, pros and cons to everything, but at this point, I just feel like there's no cons at all if done the right way. And as I mentioned, too much of anything is not good. So of course, if you're going to do it too much, then it's not going to be good. There are days when I still take the peptide, especially when I'm traveling, because I love my food. I will never have control over a buffet I see. And so it's something that I know I can take lifelong and rely on, as long as I'm not misusing it and I'm not overdosing, but just to keep me at bay, because it's sometimes very hard to just discipline yourself and keep off the food, especially in places where there's too much food. So just in general, peptides are the best thing in terms of it's the way forward, it's the future, it's minimally invasive. There's so many solutions from peptides to so many problems that we suffer from on a daily basis. And hopefully I'll be able to talk about the other peptides. We're the only ones in the country who have some of these peptides. And so we're so happy to offer these treatments to patients because they're patients who've suffered a lot, who've done everything in terms of any condition they have, and peptides have worked for them. So a lot of my patients have really benefited. And so, we're hoping that we can treat more and more patients.
Now that you've also mentioned that you're quite affordable with this and that you're the only maybe facility that offers some of these peptides that aren't offered in other facilities, then where can now somebody who's watching find you? How can they access Tia Clinics?
So we're in Muthaiga. We're neighbors to Gertrude's Hospital. And you can check us up on all the socials, Tia Clinics.
Also, our phone numbers are on all the socials: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter. So, or just Google us. Yeah.
All right, there you have it. Everything is on the social media pages. Okay, Google Pali, you will see everything that you need to see on the bio, I hope. And thank you so much, Mary.
Thank you.
And of course, Daktari, for welcoming us into your home. It looks lovely. Oh, I hope you see it as your home, because to me it feels so comfortable. I hope all of you can tell this morning. But that's it for this conversation. We're talking about peptides as a solution to weight loss. What have you learned? Keep interacting with us on our socials. Basically, it helps manage pain. Let me just help you rewind. Insulin balances hormones, reduction of cortisol levels, and of course just rejuvenation in general. So TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube, or next at TV47 Digital. My handle is at Ann_Odida. Let's continue this conversation on our socials. And until next time, well, see you and have a good morning.